The Voodoo religion in Haiti is one of the most controversial spiritual belief systems in the world, surrounded by countless myths and mysterious symbols. Caught between black magic and deep spirituality, Voodoo remains a true enigma that has fascinated people around the globe for generations. Despite its deep connection to Haitian history and culture, this religion has long been shrouded in mystery. Some view it as nothing more than dark magical rituals, while others see it as a powerful spiritual link to natural and cosmic forces. In this world filled with mystery, fact, and legend intertwine, making Voodoo a subject worthy of exploration and understanding. You will learn more about it in this video, so stay with us until the end. And don't forget to support us by liking the video and subscribing to the channel to stay updated with all our latest content. The Voodoo religion in Haiti emerged from the unique social and historical circumstances experienced by enslaved Africans in the Caribbean, particularly in Haiti. During the 17th and 18th centuries, French colonizers transported large numbers of African slaves to work on sugar plantations in Saint-Domingue, the French colony that later became Haiti. These enslaved people brought with them a rich variety of spiritual traditions, many of which originated in West Africa. Their beliefs centered on the worship of spirits, reverence for ancestors, and the idea that unseen spiritual forces played an active role in everyday life. Upon arriving in Haiti, the enslaved Africans faced harsh oppression and were forced to abandon many aspects of their traditional cultures. French colonial authorities imposed Christianity, particularly Catholicism, and discouraged or prohibited the practice of African religions. However, rather than completely abandoning their spiritual heritage, the enslaved population adapted their beliefs in creative ways. They began to associate African spirits with Catholic saints, allowing them to continue honoring their traditional deities while outwardly appearing to practice Christianity. For example, certain Catholic saints were viewed as representations of specific African spirits, creating a bridge between the two religious traditions. Over time, this blending of African spirituality and Christian symbolism gave rise to what is now known as Haitian Voodoo. The religion developed its own unique identity, incorporating rituals, ceremonies, music, dance, and spiritual practices that reflected both African and Christian influences. Voodoo became more than a religion. It served as a source of unity, strength, and cultural identity for enslaved and later free Haitians. Despite facing centuries of persecution, misunderstanding, and negative stereotypes, Voodoo survived and continued to evolve. Even after Haiti gained independence in 1804, practitioners often faced discrimination from both religious and political authorities. Nevertheless, Voodoo remained deeply rooted in Haitian society and continues to be an essential part of the nation's cultural and spiritual heritage today. Its enduring presence reflects the resilience of the Haitian people and the lasting influence of African traditions in the Caribbean. The rituals of Haitian Voodoo revolve around communication with spiritual beings known as the Loa, or Loa. Followers believe that these spirits interact with human life and can offer guidance, protection, healing, and wisdom. Rituals are typically performed in sacred spaces known as voodoo temples, where religious ceremonies are led by spiritual leaders. These leaders, often referred to as priests and priestesses, are responsible for maintaining the connection between the human and spiritual worlds and guiding worshippers through important ceremonies. One of the most well-known aspects of voodoo is the ritual of spirit possession. During certain ceremonies, practitioners believe that a Loa can temporarily enter and inhabit the body of a participant. When this occurs, the individual may enter a trance-like state and act as a vessel for the spirit. Through the possessed person, the Loa may communicate messages, offer advice, or perform symbolic actions. These ceremonies often involve rhythmic drumming, chanting, singing, and ritual dances, all of which are believed to help attract and honor the spirits. Different Loa are associated with specific songs, dances, and symbols, making each ritual unique depending on the spirit being invoked. Healing rituals also play a central role in voodoo practice. Many followers seek spiritual assistance for physical, emotional, or psychological problems. Religious practitioners may use medicinal herbs, prayers, symbolic objects, and sacred rituals to cleanse negative energies and restore balance. These healing practices are based on the belief that some illnesses have spiritual causes that cannot be addressed through conventional medicine alone. Another important element of voodoo ceremonies is the offering of sacrifices. These offerings may include food, drinks, plants, or in some cases, animals. Followers believe that such gifts honor the spirits, strengthen the relationship between humans and the Loa, and help secure blessings, protection, and harmony within the community. While these practices may seem unusual to outsiders, they are regarded as acts of respect and reciprocity within the voodoo tradition. Beyond their spiritual purpose, voodoo rituals also serve an important social function. Ceremonies bring people together, strengthen community bonds, and provide opportunities for shared spiritual experiences. Through collective worship and celebration, participants develop a sense of belonging and mutual support. Despite widespread misconceptions, voodoo is fundamentally a spiritual system centered on respect for nature, the spirit world, and the interconnectedness of all life, helping its followers find meaning, balance, and guidance in their everyday lives. Haitian voodoo is far more than a collection of magical rituals or folk practices associated with spirits and the dead. It is a living religion that reflects the deep spiritual values of the Haitian people and their long history of struggle, survival, and freedom. Developed through the blending of traditional African religious beliefs and Catholic influences during the colonial era, voodoo represents a unique spiritual system that continues to shape both individual lives and the wider community. For many Haitians, it is not simply a religion, but a way of understanding the world and humanity's place within it. The spiritual foundation of voodoo goes far beyond the mysterious ceremonies often portrayed in popular culture. At its core lies the belief that the spiritual and physical worlds are closely connected and constantly interacting with one another. Followers believe in powerful spiritual beings known as the Loa or Lua, who act as intermediaries between humanity and a distant supreme creator. These spirits are involved in many aspects of life, including health, love, family, work, protection, and justice. Each spirit possesses a distinct personality, preferences, and responsibilities, and individuals may develop personal relationships with particular Loa throughout their lives. In voodoo practice, communication with the spiritual world is considered essential. Believers seek guidance, wisdom, and support from the spirits through prayers, offerings, songs, dances, and ceremonial gatherings. These rituals are not merely symbolic acts, but are viewed as meaningful interactions with forces that influence everyday life. During ceremonies, participants may enter altered states of consciousness, allowing them to experience a deeper connection with the spiritual realm. Such experiences strengthen faith and reinforce the belief that the unseen world remains actively present in human affairs. One of the most fascinating aspects of voodoo is its flexibility and adaptability. Unlike rigid religious systems with fixed doctrines, voodoo evolves according to local traditions, community needs, and historical circumstances. Different regions of Haiti may honor certain spirits in unique ways, and practices can vary from one community to another. This adaptability has allowed the religion to survive centuries of social change, political upheaval, and external pressure while maintaining its core spiritual principles. Voodoo also serves as a powerful force for social unity. Religious ceremonies often accompany important community events, such as weddings, festivals, harvest celebrations, and memorial gatherings. These occasions bring people together, fostering solidarity, mutual support, and a shared sense of identity. Through collective participation in rituals, individuals strengthen their bonds with both the spiritual world and their neighbors. Although voodoo has often been misunderstood or portrayed negatively in Western media, many scholars and observers now recognize it as a complex and meaningful religious tradition. Rather than focusing on sensationalized images of magic or superstition, Modern studies emphasize its rich spiritual philosophy, cultural significance, and role in preserving Haitian heritage. Understanding Voodoo offers valuable insight into how history, culture, and religion can combine to create a resilient system of belief that helps people find purpose, community, and meaning in their lives. In this sense, Haitian Voodoo stands as a powerful example of humanity's enduring search for spiritual connection and understanding. Voodoo is a spiritual religion known for its rituals, ceremonies, and beliefs concerning the interaction between human beings and the spiritual world. Originating from traditional African religions and later blending with elements of Christianity, particularly in Haiti, Voodoo has become a unique faith that emphasizes the presence of spiritual entities believed to influence daily life. Through prayers, offerings, music, and ceremonies, followers seek guidance, protection, healing, and blessings from these spirits. Because of these beliefs, many people wonder how Islam views Voodoo and whether its practices are compatible with Islamic teachings. In Islam, the foundation of faith is the belief in the absolute oneness of God, known as Tawheed. Muslims believe that worship, supplication, trust, and reliance should be directed solely to Allah. According to Islamic teachings, no spirit, saint, or supernatural being possesses independent power over human destiny. Therefore, practices that involve seeking help from spirits or attributing supernatural authority to entities other than God are generally considered contrary to the principles of Islamic monotheism. A major point of concern is the Voodoo belief in communicating with spiritual beings for guidance or assistance. Followers often believe that spirits can influence events, provide protection, or help solve personal problems. In contrast, Islam teaches that all benefit and harm occur only by the will of Allah. Muslims are encouraged to seek guidance through prayer, faith, and lawful means rather than through communication with unseen spiritual entities. As a result, many Islamic scholars regard spirit invocation and similar practices as religiously impermissible. Islam also strongly condemns magic, sorcery, fortune-telling, and attempts to manipulate supernatural forces. The Quran warns believers against practices associated with magic and deception, and Islamic tradition classifies sorcery among the major sins. Because some voodoo rituals may involve charms, spells, symbolic objects, or spirit possession ceremonies, these practices are often viewed by Muslims as falling within prohibited categories. For this reason, participation in such rituals is generally considered forbidden, according to mainstream Islamic teachings. At the same time, it is important to distinguish between popular stereotypes and the actual beliefs of voodoo practitioners. Many people associate voodoo exclusively with black magic, curses, and harmful rituals, largely because of sensational portrayals in movies and media. In reality, voodoo also includes traditions focused on healing, community support, cultural preservation, and spiritual comfort. Many ceremonies are intended to strengthen social bonds, honor ancestors, and promote emotional well-being, rather than cause harm. Despite this distinction, Islam maintains that healing and protection should be sought through permissible religious practices, including prayer, remembrance of God, charity, and trust in divine wisdom. Even when spiritual practices are performed with good intentions, Islamic teachings emphasize that dependence should remain solely on Allah rather than on spirits or supernatural intermediaries. Understanding voodoo from a historical and cultural perspective can help reduce misconceptions and encourage informed discussion. While Islam generally rejects the theological foundations and spiritual practices associated with voodoo, it also encourages fairness, knowledge, and respectful engagement with people of other beliefs. This approach allows Muslims to study and understand different religious traditions while remaining firmly committed to the principles of monotheism and Islamic faith. In this way, voodoo can be examined as an important cultural and historical phenomenon, even though its core spiritual practices are considered incompatible with Islamic doctrine. Following Haiti's independence in the early 19th century, voodoo expanded beyond its role as a religious tradition, practiced mainly by enslaved Africans and rural communities. It gradually became a powerful cultural force that influenced many aspects of Haitian life, including social customs, artistic expression, and national identity. As the new nation sought to define itself after centuries of colonial rule, voodoo emerged as an important symbol of cultural heritage and resistance. Over time, voodoo became deeply woven into Haitian society. Religious ceremonies and community gatherings served not only spiritual purposes but also social ones, bringing people together and reinforcing a shared sense of identity. Many Haitians viewed voodoo as a connection to their African ancestors and a reminder of the struggles that shaped the nation's history. Through these traditions, cultural knowledge, stories, and values were passed from one generation to the next. The influence of voodoo can also be seen throughout Haitian art, music, literature, and theater. Artists frequently draw inspiration from voodoo symbols, spirits, rituals, and folklore. Traditional drumming and ceremonial dances have shaped Haitian music, while writers and poets have explored voodoo themes to express ideas about freedom, spirituality, and cultural pride. These creative works have helped introduce Haitian culture to the wider world and have challenged many misconceptions surrounding the religion. As Haitian society evolved, voodoo became an important part of collective identity. Large celebrations, festivals, and ceremonies featuring music, dance, and spiritual rituals continue to play a significant role in community life. For many young Haitians, voodoo represents a connection to their roots and a way of preserving traditions in a rapidly changing world. These events strengthen community bonds and foster a sense of belonging among participants. Despite its cultural importance, voodoo has often been misunderstood outside Haiti. Foreign media and popular culture have frequently portrayed it as a religion centered on black magic, curses, and dark supernatural practices. Such depictions have contributed to stereotypes that overlook the religion's spiritual depth and cultural significance. Within Haiti, however, many people view voodoo as a symbol of resilience, cultural freedom, and historical continuity. Today, voodoo remains a vital part of Haitian life. Its influence extends far beyond religion, shaping traditions, artistic expression, and community relationships. Although misconceptions still exist, voodoo continues to serve as a powerful reflection of Haiti's unique history and cultural identity, demonstrating how a spiritual belief system can evolve into a defining element of a nation's heritage. Although voodoo is most strongly associated with Haiti, its influence extends far beyond the island and can be found in several regions connected to the history of the African diaspora. The religion developed from the spiritual traditions brought by enslaved Africans to the Caribbean and later spread through migration, cultural exchange, and historical ties between communities of African descent. In Haiti, voodoo remains one of the most important elements of national culture and religious life. It emerged during the colonial period among enslaved Africans who combined traditional African beliefs with aspects of Catholicism. Today, voodoo continues to be widely practiced and serves as both a spiritual path and a symbol of Haitian cultural identity. The neighboring Dominican Republic also has communities where voodoo-related traditions survive, particularly in rural areas influenced by Haitian migration and African heritage. While Christianity remains the dominant religion, certain spiritual practices reflect historical connections to voodoo and other Afro-Caribbean beliefs. In the United States, especially in the city of New Orleans, voodoo has gained a distinctive presence. Influenced by Haitian and Caribbean traditions, New Orleans voodoo developed its own unique character and became an important part of the city's cultural history. The city remains one of the best-known centers of voodoo-inspired traditions outside Haiti. Similar religious traditions can also be found in Brazil, where Afro-Brazilian religions, such as Candomblé, preserve many African spiritual elements. Although not identical to Haitian voodoo, these traditions share common roots and demonstrate how African beliefs adapted to different cultural environments throughout the Americas. In Cuba, African-derived religious practices have blended with Catholic traditions in ways similar to Haiti. Religions such as Santeria reflect the lasting influence of African spirituality and illustrate how these beliefs evolved across the Caribbean. The roots of many voodoo traditions can also be traced back to parts of Central and West Africa, including regions of present-day Congo, where ancestral spiritual beliefs helped shape the foundations of the religion. Elements of these traditions have survived for centuries despite colonialism and social change. Although voodoo is not the dominant religion in most of these countries, its influence remains visible in religious practices, music, folklore, festivals, and cultural traditions. As a result, voodoo continues to be an important part of the spiritual and cultural heritage of many communities around the world, demonstrating the enduring legacy of African traditions across continents. Unlike many major religions, voodoo is not commonly associated with internationally famous religious figures. Instead, its influence is often reflected through culture, music, art, literature, and folklore. Over the years, voodoo has attracted attention from artists, performers, and public figures who have drawn inspiration from its symbols, traditions, and historical significance. In Haiti, respected spiritual leaders have played important roles in preserving voodoo practices and passing them on to future generations. These individuals are often recognized within their communities for their spiritual knowledge and cultural contributions rather than for celebrity status. Outside Haiti, voodoo has frequently appeared in popular culture. Musicians, filmmakers, writers, and visual artists have incorporated themes inspired by Haitian spirituality and Afro-Caribbean traditions into their work. In some cases, celebrities have been linked to voodoo because of symbolic imagery used in performances, music videos, or artistic projects. However, such connections are often cultural or artistic rather than religious. Media portrayals have also contributed to the fascination surrounding voodoo. Movies and television programs have frequently depicted it as mysterious, supernatural, or magical, creating both curiosity and misunderstanding. While these portrayals have increased public awareness of voodoo, they have often overlooked its deeper spiritual and cultural dimensions. Despite its presence in entertainment and popular culture, voodoo remains primarily a living religious tradition, practiced by communities in Haiti and parts of the Caribbean. For its followers, it is not a form of spectacle or folklore, but a meaningful expression of faith, heritage, and identity. Although voodoo symbols may appear in global media, its true significance continues to be found in the communities that preserve its rituals, values, and spiritual traditions, ensuring that this unique cultural heritage remains alive for future generations. In conclusion, the voodoo religion in Haiti remains a subject surrounded by mystery and many misconceptions. While some people see it as a dark and frightening form of black magic, others view it as a deeply spiritual practice focused on communicating with spirits and seeking harmony with nature and the universe. It is not simply a collection of magical rituals, as it is often portrayed, but rather a blend of history, culture, and beliefs that reflects the struggle of the Haitian people to preserve their identity in the face of oppression and slavery. With its diverse traditions and beliefs, voodoo remains an important part of Haitian culture. It serves as a link between the past and the present, and continues to play a significant role in the spiritual and social life of Haitian society. And with that, we have reached the end of this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Until next time, goodbye, and see you in another documentary.